Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, the Mad Guy, again, up here today with a game review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Days Gone. Now I know I'm quite late to the party on this one, but hey, better late than never, you know. Everyone has their own opinions on certain games or movies and things, no matter how new or old they may be. And I thought I'd do the review on Days Gone. First off, I want to start off by saying that there's been a surge of horde-based zombie games, you know, infected games, going back to the days of Left 4 Dead, where it was really, while Left 4 Dead may not have been the first one, it definitely was the one that really sort of put horde main games on the map. I like to call horde shooters are basically where it's just tons of enemies on the screen at once and it's just you and your wits basically. But Days Gone is what I like to consider a mix between a survival game like something like DayZ or H1Z1, stuff like that, where it's an open world, it's based on survival, mixed with maybe something like World War Z or something in there. Now Days Gone was part of the Sony exclusive first party AAA games, basically. I know they are now on PC, but I'm still going with exclusive because everything's on PC these days anyway. And I don't really like to consider PC in with console games. If the game's exclusive to a console but it's on PC, I still consider it an exclusive console game. So like Halo. Halo is playable on PC, but I still consider it an Xbox exclusive. It's not on PlayStation, it's not on Nintendo, only on Xbox. And I want to start by saying that Sony have really hit it out of the park with their exclusive games like The Last of Us, the God of War games. What else have they done that's really been big? Horizon Zero Dawn, the Spider-Man game, and of course they are still bringing the exclusives to their console. And I think I like to say that Sony do a great job of bringing exclusives and more games to their systems, whereas Microsoft tried to bring as many games to their system, but at a decent price, Game Pass and stuff like that. I think Microsoft are doing a better job of, fan service in terms of giving people more bang for your buck kind of thing with Game Pass and Games with Gold and things, whereas Sony are doing a better job of trying to give more exclusives and more reasons to own a PlayStation console, for example. Which is why I still want a PS5 eventually. Knights of the Old Republic remake, which we probably will get on Xbox, but you gotta love what Sony are doing. I'm sorry I don't have anything to show because I don't have the actual game. It was free a couple months ago on PlayStation Plus, and what a great game to give away for free, right? So Days Gone basically takes place in Oregon, in America, and basically you play as a character named Deacon St. John, who was a ex sort of motorcycle club, biker gang club. And basically what's happened is there's an infection known as the Freakers. And they're basically like mutated. See, I wouldn't really call them zombies in this game. They're like mutated Freakers, infected people, And it's a really cool game. First of all, I want to start by saying that the story is really good. So you're basically following Deacon, who's survived, obviously, this attack years ago. And it takes place like 2 or 3 years after the initial outbreak, and the setting is really nice. It's a very luscious environment. You're in the countryside, basically the countryside of Oregon, the forests, and it's very sort of rural and countryside. There's not really a lot of like houses and things. It's very open-ended and there's lots of forests and things to explore. And basically the whole idea of the game is you're basically just trying to survive. You and your friend known as Boozer, you're the last 2 survivors of your gang, and there's he's basically trying to find his wife. I don't really want to give too much away in terms of spoilers because it's a really good story, but honestly it kind of reminds me a little bit of The Walking Dead, in the sense that even though I haven't really watched The Walking Dead, I know of the story of The Walking Dead. Yes, it's based around zombies and monsters and infected, whatever you want to call them. But the story lies within the actual humans' interactions. Obviously, you're going, you know, to all these different camps, and there's a lot of tension, there's fights, and there's different gangs out there, there's marauders, there's cultists, and all of these other crazy things going on. It's really a sort of a nod to the human interaction as to how, you know, looking back on it, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, say, like the Dawn of the Dead trilogy or the Day of the Dead game, you know, trilogy, where it's based on the human interaction and the sort of overtones and the messages to it. Basically, the game is open world, and it has a really cool sort of feature. It's basically just you and your wits, and, you know, you're going around scavenging, you're doing these missions for people, you know, and, you know, you're just trying to survive, basically. And, you know, there is a storyline to it, and I don't want to go too much away from the story because it's worth playing for the story alone. I enjoyed the story. I thought the characters were great. There was a lot of human interaction. You know, you do care about the characters as well, which is great. And, you know, Sony have done a great job. You know, God of War, The Last of Us, you know, they've done a great job with these human interactions, the character-based, story-driven games. Although the story is there, it is, again, it's not like The Last of Us where it's sort of, you know, quite contained. This one's open-ended, so you can really do what you want. Again, it's got the usual sort of things, you know, the survival element, scavenging, you know, upgrading your weapons, you know, different camps, you get credits basically, which you can use to buy weapon upgrades. You have to earn trust by doing missions for people, you know, collecting bounties when you kill enemies. You know, you get like their, I think it's their ears, and scavenging, you know, plants and animals and selling them, and you get trust meter. The higher your trust is, the more money you get, and obviously you can use that to buy weapons and stuff. Again, the game uses a lot of scavenging in a sense that it's not your traditional, you know, horde shooter where everything's just you're just gonna find everything as you want. You know, you're gonna have to look around, and it's one of those games that if you found it, then it's gone. You're not gonna re-find it. It's not gonna respawn. You know, and another thing I enjoyed about the game was the bike. So the bike is really like your main sort of source of traveling in this game. And you have to upgrade your bike again, getting, you know, you have to manage your resources like your scrap and stuff to repair your bike. You have to get fuel. You can either use that in the camps and refuel it. You can go to fuel pumps. You can find gas cans. And it's all about managing that bike. If your bike breaks down and you've got no scrap, that's it, mate. You're going to have to go out and find scrap. And you actually learn just how useful the bike is. And I really enjoyed it. One thing I will say is that I actually didn't run out of fuel. That's something I will say. Maybe in the harder difficulties and survival difficulties, maybe there's less chance of finding stuff. But you don't run out of fuel if you're smart about it. You know, you're managing. It's all about managing resources. One thing I will say about the game is it's very, again, you have to find scavenging items, so you can use these items to get like health things, build traps, build weapons, silencers for your guns, you know, repairing your bike and all of that sort of stuff. So it's very useful, and you know, you really need to manage your items in this game. You can't just go out and just build the same item over and over again. You can if you want. But I learned that if you're in a fight and you haven't got the right equipment for it, you're gonna fuck up basically. The biggest thing about this game is the horde. So, like I said, there's a lot of horde shooters out there. If you compare it to World War Z, in that game, you can just tear through hordes. It's all about shooting your way through this game. This game is not like that. It's about managing, and I will say it's very palpable as well. When you're against the horde, it is palpable. It's tense, it's stressful, and for that reason alone, it's awesome. You know, you just really sort of feel like you're in that environment. You've got to keep running. You've got to use the environment. Oh, look, there's a fuel canister there. I can use that to blow up some enemies. You know, I have to manage my armor, manage my stamina, manage my my ammo. Sorry, not armor, ammo. you know, make sure I've got the right traps and stuff. And that's something I really like about this game. It's not your traditional sort of blast your way through hundreds of enemies. You got to really be smart about your shit, because you will die over and over again. Even if you're playing on the easiest difficulty, you're still going to get overwhelmed. You can't just stand there and shoot through hundreds of enemies and melee them away. You can't do that. It's all about taking your time, planning your attacks, and knowing the routes. You go, okay, I'm running away. Oh, look, there's somewhere I can escape through. I'm going to go through there. There's a narrow way I can blast through. So run, shoot, shoot, run, put a trap down, shoot the trap. Really fun. One thing I will say about the game is, and this was my biggest gripe with the game, it was a bit too long and drawn out. I felt like some of the stuff in the game could have easily been cut. Now, bear in mind, not everything needs to be done. There are parts of the game where there's some side quests, you know, hunting down bounties, killing a horde, for example, and you don't have to do that. If you do everything in the game, you do get a secret ending or the true ending, and there is a post-game mode and there's a new game plus, so there's plenty to go back and do if you've already beaten the game. And I was surprised that once I beat the game, it still come up saying there's another story mission. So I haven't uninstalled it yet, and I think I might go back and do those missions before I move on to another PS4 game. I'm still playing Avengers at the moment, and tonight I'm going to be playing some World War Z Horde mode, so check that out. But yeah, I felt like it was drawn out a little bit. If you're trying to do all the side quests to go on, which you want to do anyway, because you want to try and get as much XP, and you know, you need that resources and like money, you know, because you don't want to be without money and stuff. And again, it reminds me, the thing is, I played this game, it says it's a 38-hour game just for the story alone, and I don't know how true that is, but it was drawn out. I felt like, I was like, oh, I'm going to the latest island in the game. Oh, it's going to be the end of the game. No, there's a whole nother chapter. There's a whole nother chapter. There's a whole nother load of missions you got to do. And yes, I know we're in a society where we want more bang for our buck, but that doesn't necessarily have to happen. If you've got a game that has plenty of post-game content, you know, you don't need to put hundreds and hundreds of hours into just the main story. I know it's not got hundreds of hours, but there are games out there that are short but sweet. There's games that have a nice medium to them. I felt like this game was a little bit on the long side. It was a bit of a war of attrition. When I'm playing a game, if I'm playing a game and I'm like, oh, I just want it to end now, I want it to end now, then that's when it becomes a bit of a problem. I don't want to play a game and go, I just want it to end now. Because I've got so many games, you know, obviously if I'm spending 2, 3, 4 hours a day on one game, you know, 3 or 4, 5 times a week, you know, and I still haven't felt like I've made a lot of progress, then, you know, it becomes a bit of a problem. However, like I said, there are things that you can skip over if you want to, but it kind of, because this game's all based around character development and resource management and money and things like that, you want to do as many side quests as possible. You know, it's not like Skyrim or The Witcher or something like that where, you know, side quests, you don't need to do them. You can do them at your own leisure. In this game, you want to do as many things as possible to get as much XP, much upgrades as possible. You want the best, you know, weapons and stuff to help you in the fight, you know, especially toward the end of the game where things get a bit tough and the enemies are tougher, you know, the soldiers become armored and they've got better weapons, and the, you know, you're fighting some of the tougher hordes and stuff like that. The enemies in this game are pretty awesome. I did run into a few glitches here and there. The game did crash on me once. There were a few glitches, like some enemies would sort of run into place and not move. It was very stressful at times where, you know, you're fighting a horde and you're thinking to yourself, you know, I gone in and I fucked up kind of thing, and it's like, well, I'm gonna have to die because I don't have the right amount of resources. It would have been nice, like, if there was a sort of, you know, because when you're running away from the horde, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna keep chasing you. So unless you've got your bike close by and you can get on it quickly, it's very palpable, and it may not be for everyone. It may be a bit of a stressful environment for some people. However, I enjoyed the game. Like I said, it was a bit on the longer side. I felt like some stuff could have easily been cut, or they could have just gone, you know what, if you want to do this later on, you can. It's like they tried to force things on you. Another thing is this game is very stealth orientated as well. It's not a stealth orientated game, but it's like you need to go stealth if you want to try and get through things a lot easier, especially on harder difficulties. You know, you don't just want to go in guns blazing because you'll die quickly, you know, so you want to try and be as stealthy as possible. Overall, Days Gone was a fun game. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I haven't uninstalled it yet. I think I'm going to go back and maybe try and get the true ending. I'm not too sure yet, because I did enjoy it, and I feel like if I get the true ending, then I can say I've done it. I know there's achievements for, you know, I don't care about platinum trophies, honestly. I know there's achievements, there's challenge mode, there's also a new game plus. I'm not that bothered about that. As long as I've done the main game once, I've got the end credit scene, but as long as I beat the main game, that's good enough for me. But like I said, I kind of want to go back and do those last hordes and the extra missions, just so I can say that I've done all that the main game has to offer, not the new game plus or anything like that. Overall, I'm going to give Days Gone an 8 out of 10. It was a very fun game. It was a great open world game. It definitely takes the sort of horde shooters in a different direction, and I would like to see more games like it, the survival zombie infected games that aren't the traditional blasting your way through. However, I do like the blasting your way through. I like the World War Z, the Back for Blood coming out soon. Overall, 8 out of 10. Like I said, some stuff could have been cut. I feel like the game's a bit longer than some people may like it to be. And there are a few little glitches here and there. But overall, it was pretty decent. Oh, and one other thing I will say is the subtitles can actually glitch out as well. I noticed in some cutscenes the subtitles didn't work, which isn't a problem for most people. But if you are someone that needs to have subtitles, just be aware that that does happen sometimes. I haven't played it on PS5. I don't know if it has a PS5 upgrade. It runs pretty well. I did run into a few little frame rate issues. Mostly when you're around the second camp, the hot spring camp. That's when I noticed some of the issues with the slowdown and the frame rate dropping. But other than that, it was fine. So Days Gone gets a thumbs up for me. 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it for people that are fans of open world, infected games, and even some horde shooters if you want something a bit different. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's review. If you did, feel free to leave a like and comment below. Let me know if you played Days Gone. What's your favourite horde shooter? And as always, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, eBay store, all on my channel link. I will be streaming some World War Z tonight. We're going to do the horde mode, me and my friends. So we're going to try out some horde mode. And as always, guys, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Oh, and before I go, I did actually sell those Xbox 360 games in that big box. I got £62 for them. I don't know if I mentioned it. I'm waiting for the money to come through so I can go and post them. But you know what eBay's like. But anyway, have a nice day.